Alright, everybody. Welcome back to Slendermane Chapter 1 still. I'm about 2/3 done, so this should probably be the last episode of Chapter 1. Okay, we're right here. Okay. This is going to take longer than I thought, Twilight mumbled under her breath before joining Zakor in her arduous task. Man, these words are bothering me. It turned out to be a good thing that Zakor had given her the gloves. As Twilight plucked her first berry from the tree, it abruptly popped. Luckily, the juice had exploded away from her, but it had earned her an angry glare from Zakora. Gently, she had said, grabbing a berry and twisting it slightly, causing it to break free from the branch smoothly. Twilight tossed her smashed berry into her bag and followed Zakora's example for the next run. She let out a sigh of relief when it easily separated from the tree. It had been several hours since then, and the two of them had worked in silence without any further accidents. Unfortunately, they hadn't made much progress either. Over half the berries were still on the tree, and Twilight was running out of patience. "I have an idea," she suddenly exclaimed, causing the car to jump at the sudden noise. "Why don't I just magic the berries off the tree?" Wow, that's some seriously bad grammar. "Don't be silly," Zakora replied dismissingly before getting back to work. "No, really, I can do it. I've done it before with apple trees." Oh, sorry. I have a performance alert. Don't record that. Okay, sorry about that, guys. No, really, I can do it. I've done it before with apple trees. And that was more than one tree, mind you. This would be easy. Carefully letting go of the berry she was holding on to, Zakora turned toward Twilight. Although it would save as much time, the risk involved is far too high. "Oh, there is no risk involved," Twilight laughed. "Here, let me show you." Twilight's horn began to glow as she focused on a single scary berry. It easily popped off the branch and floated over to the bag. "See?" she said, smiling confidently. Easy. Zakora looked over at the tree, then up at the sky. The sun was past midway already. "Fine," she finally said, "but please be careful. Start out small. Take one or two, and not them all." "I'll be careful," Twilight promised, her horn already beginning to glow again. Soon 2 more scary berries were removed themselves from the tree and floated into her bag. Then 4, then 8. After only a few minutes, the tree was berryless. Twilight magically shut the saddlebags and tightened the latches, feeling very proud of herself. "There," she said happily. "On to step 2, Zakora nodded, satisfied with her work, and produced a small jar and another device that Twilight didn't recognize from the outside pocket of her saddlebag. "What are those?" asked Twilight. "This is tinder oil," she replied, holding up the jar. "And this," she said as she raised the other device, a small tube with a rod that fit snugly inside it, "is a fire piston. Please stand a safe distance away." Twilight took a few steps back as Zakora undid the lid of the container and poured the thick black liquid around the base of the tree. Not sure what to expect. Once she was done with that, she removed the rod from the tube and placed a single drop of liquid into it as well. She quickly replaced the rod and in one quick movement slammed it to the bottom of the tube. Twilight wasn't sure what that was supposed to have done, but to her surprise, when Zakora removed the rod, it turned the tube over. A red-hot ember fell out. "Wait, how did that—" She was interrupted as the ember landed on the circle of tinder oil. There was a sudden flash and a blast of hot air as it ignited in an impressive display of orange flames. "Under compression, if the tube is sealed tight," said Zakora, walking over to Twilight, "and the heat is enough to make the tinder ignite." "That's genius," admired Twilight, now understanding the work of the fire piston. "But I wouldn't— wait. Huh? Oh. Such devices have existed in my home for hundreds of years," Zakora said as she and Twilight Watch the trunk of the tree begin to ignite. Please try not to be alarmed. Well, I wouldn't call it alarming as much as interesting. I would have thought that Twilight was once again interrupted by an ear-splitting shriek, ear-splitting shriek shattered the air around them. She looked around frantically for whoever it was making such a horrifying sound, but she didn't see any pony. As the screaming continued, she looked over at Zakora, who simply continued to stand there with a calm expression on her face. She's like, and then there's like screaming. What's going on? Twilight asked in alarm. Who's making that sound? Zakora motioned toward the tree. The tree? Screaming. Oh god, this is funny now. As the thick sap inside the tree begins to boil, pressure builds and the thick bark cracks. The sound you hear is nothing more than steam erupting from its core. It has been said, though, by the superstition, each tree sounds different depending on what evil spirit resides within it. What a horrible thing to think, mused Twilight, a shiver running down her spine as the screaming of the tree increased intensely. This is funny. There's a screaming tree. Okay, 1 second, I just gotta check something. Oh wow, my video's going pretty quick rendering. Part 2 is rendering right now. Twilight always considered herself a logical pony. But by the time the tree had finished burning down to nothing more than an ashen husk, she was visibly shaken. It simply sounded too lifelike. Maybe someone was inside the tree. That'd be kind of funny. Oh yeah, guys, by the way, the next story I'm doing is cupcakes. Yeah. I'm also gonna read a sequel to it after that I wrote myself. Anyway, back to this story. Sometimes it sounded exactly like her friends. A few times she could have sworn she even heard words among the constant agonizing screams. Even now, in the silence of the late afternoon, the voice still lingered in the back of her mind, still lost in her own thoughts. Twilight jumped when the Zakora placed a hoof on her shoulder. Come, the roots will continue to smolder for some time, but it is safe for us to begin salting. Twilight nodded, feeling just a little queasy, and untied 2 pouches from the side of her saddlebag. She handed one to Zakora and kept the other for herself. Pulling open the pouch, Twilight reached in and scooped out a handful of crude salt. For the next hour, they spread the salt around the clearing, making sure to stomp. Yeah, stomp. You don't stamp salt. To stomp it into the soil to prevent it from blowing away. Twilight was relieved when her bag of salt was finally gone, but Zakora informed her that it wasn't enough and they needed to get more. By the time they had walked all the way back to her house, refilled the pouches, and walked back, it was getting dark. As they approached the clearing again, Twilight gasped in surprise. Without the bright sunlight, the dim red glow of the smoldering roots, at least those near the surface, could be clearly seen. They spread out from the tree in all directions. Much farther than Twilight would have thought possible. Like long, gnarled fingers digging through the dirt. How big is this thing? She asked as the two of them once again began to spread salt over the air. Its roots run far and wide and deep. To other trees they try to creep. But why? It is a pestilent plant. If they get hold, then those trees too must be removed, or they will eventually be turned. I once witnessed such a thing occur. An entire forest burned to the ground in a single night. Twilight shivered as she imagined what an entire forest of these things would look like burning down. It would be like burning an entire village full of ponies. Yeah. She tried to force the images away as she threw another scoop of salt in a wide arc in front of her. So, she said, trying to change the subject, what exactly do these scary berries do? It is best not to speak of such things. Is it really that bad? Asked Twilight skeptically. I would not want to frighten you, Zakora was Zakora's reply. No, Twilight's curiosity was piqued. Piqued. Oh, okay. This whole experience was already disturbing enough. What could the berries possibly do that was worse? I won't get scared, said Twilight unconfidently. Zakora let out an agitated bray, but began to tell her anyway. There are tales of zebras driven insane, found muttering the cursed name, Slendermane. Who's Slendermane? Asked Twilight. Zakora took a deep breath. It's a long story. That's alright, said Twilight. I'm listening. To be continued. Well, guys, we did it. So, I may not be able to record part 2 till tomorrow. Chapter 2 till tomorrow, or maybe later today. I'm not sure. But, I'm finally liking the story more. I'm curious who this Slenderman guy is. I've looked into the Slenderman in real life. The only reason I'm talking to you is because I still have about 2 minutes before my video needs to be ended, but, actually, I'm gonna do something for you guys. Out of sheer boredom, I'm gonna draw. Well, guys, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Boop.